On everybody, it is Craig, and we're diving into something you've never seen me talk about this channel. The world of baseball cards and sports card influences. Because there's something I heard, or I shouldn't say heard, there's something I read today that really annoyed me. And then there's some stuff in my own world that annoyed me today too, and I can't really do anything about that right now. So I'm going to do something about this. I'm going to talk about this. Geoff Wilson, who is, I don't know, arguably, I guess, the biggest of the card social media promoters, if you will. I know there's a couple of big ones, but given sort of all the landscape he has and all that, I'd probably put him at the biggest one. He is replying about something regarding the upcharges at PSA. And for those of you who don't know, if you have a really good card and it gets a grade that gives it a significant amount of value, I don't know how they determine which pays more, which not. That you get an upcharge. So here's the fee. Here's what we charge you to do your card. However, if it's a good card and we do really, really well on it, then no, then you got to give us more. And now, in the case of Geoff Wilson, he said they added $50,000 in value to my card. I'm happy to pay them a 4% commission for doing this. And then he also said, think of it like betting $50,000 on a hand of blackjack, winning and then tipping the deal with $4K. Everybody wins. No, if I win $50,000 on a hand of blackjack, it's because I personally risked $50,000 of my own money. Maybe he doesn't know how blackjack works. So if I risk $50,000 of my own money and I hit it, yeah, when I'm cashing out, I'll probably give it a few $100s as a tip. Okay. Maybe in that scenario, if I'm so wealthy, I can gamble $50K like I don't care, then maybe more. But it's no. I had a roof put on my house, years back that upped the value. It was cost about $10,000, $15,000 to do it. The house went up like $50K. Should I have reached out to the people that added the roof? And like, okay, thanks, man. The roof gave me more money. I'm going to give you a percentage. No, it's BS. So now, my reason for doing this video, venting a little bit, is I honestly am genuinely curious. Do you think it's a case where for Wilson, his money, he's okay enough with it, and giving $4,000 or something that, that's nothing. That's only 8%. That's fine. That's a business tax. Maybe that's the case. I don't know about you. I don't see it that way. So my question is, do you agree with that? Do you have any problem? Like, hey, if it's a really good grade, it's 8%. And I don't even know if 8% is the fee. I just know $4,000 or $50K is 8%. So I'm assuming, there's some connection to that. But then, known PSA, who knows? Maybe it goes even higher. The better the grade is, the more money you have for it, etc. But I really wonder, is it that, or is PSA pulling a fast one? Is PSA getting in with people like, well, we already saw the PSA grading thing he did with the guy from PSA and gave him a couple of cards. So are they sort of encouraging him, an influencer, to say stuff like that? Because the sad reality is, just folks, I'm a psychologist. The sad reality is the way psychology works with stuff like this. People that are Geoff Wilson sycophants will hear him say this and almost talk themselves into it, like, oh, of course, it's this, it's normal, it's that, etc. So is it really his opinion, or is this PSA trying to pull some stuff? I don't know. I really depends. That's why I put this up here. I'm curious what you think. I don't vent on what people say, anything like that. But when someone says something that, to me, reeks with absurdity, like, yeah, they gave it a lot more of a grade. Okay, well, if that's in the equation, if their grading increases the value, then their grading could also decrease the value. Like I said, if you have a PSA 8, a PSA 8 is worth less than a raw card when we're talking about modern cards. We're not talking about old vintage or anything like that. A PSA 8 and vintage is worth a ton. But, PSA 8 of a modern card is worth significantly less than, hell, PSA 9 sometimes go for less than the raws. But at the very least, I'll say, okay, 9's at the same level. PSA 8, hey, I look to buy PSA 8 autographs sometimes because I can get them nice and cheap. I can get them a lot more affordably. If it's something I just want for my collection, then that should be fine. And again, that's the other thing. I don't know. I've been ranting a while. I don't know what I've said, haven't. But what if the person grading it is doing it for themselves? What if they're not loaded? What if just some every Joe who bought a retail box somehow got a monster hit? So they go to grade it. And I know stuff comes out of retail. Like, I remember I was watching Peds and they pulled the 101 Skeens card, and that sent to PSA. I'm sure there was an upcharge there because of the value placed on it. It just doesn't seem like a fair thing to do. Unless Like, they tell you your card is worth 50 grand, you got to give us 8%, or we'll buy it for 50. If they want to buy it for 50, that's different. Okay, sure, take your 50. But don't give an arbitrary value that a card may or may not reach based on what's going on in the market. And like I said, anyone out there, do your own critical thinking. Do use your own common sense. Don't listen to me just ranting. Especially if you don't know me. I get it. But don't let influencers influence you. That's why they have that freaking title, because people know that they can, hey, I'll send them some free product. I'll push it. People will buy that. I'll do this. I'll do that. There's a lot of guys that talk cards and all that, and I'm not against what Geoff does for the most part. Although if you ever watch him in some of his videos, the logic that he uses when he's trying to buy a card, he doesn't follow that same logic when he's trying to sell a card. So like some stuff he'll say, well, yeah, that comp's a little bit off because of the time it was up. Someone says that to him, he's like, no, I don't. That's not true. Yada yada. I think this one should be worth even more than the comp because it's this or that. I don't know. What do you think? Is he in on it with them with PSA? Is all these influences on it, or is it just a legitimate, innocent take? And I am unfairly criticizing the man. But that said, if you don't know me, obviously I'm a big horror guy. You can check out the channel if horror is your thing, but I had to throw something out regarding cards because this just annoyed the hell out of me when I saw it this morning. And again, other stuff was annoying me, so, got a little displacement here, I guess. Anyway, folks, peace.